Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. Do not forget that Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan83. Additionally, you can find me on YouTube. Simply look for Drew Duncan. The Full Court Press is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And don't forget, you can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Want to get into a little NBA free agency, which has apparently turned everybody off the hinges. People are mad at the New York Knicks. KD's making a different move than what they thought most would make, or most people thought he would make, I should say. Kyrie Irving supposedly headed to the Nets. Dame Lillard, he just got $194 million with the Blazers. A lot to get to. Let's snap at it. You know, I just wrote a short article here not too long ago before I got into this podcast because I wanted to kind of put the vibe out there. And that is, I really think that we should be hesitant to be critical of the New York Knicks for not wanting to acquire Kevin Durant. Look, one of the things that I talked about when the whole thing broke that Kevin Durant was now a free agent was simply this. It is high risk, high reward on both ends of the spectrum for Kevin Durant and for any team that elects to pursue him and give him a max contract. Lest we forget that Kevin Durant elected to bow out of a $31 million opportunity this year with the Golden State Warriors. $31 million to recuperate. But he's already shown teams what he is capable of when he's primetime Kevin Durant, right? To me, the best in the NBA, period. Now, here's the scenario. It's high risk for Kevin Durant because maybe somebody wasn't going to offer him a max contract. Exactly the scenario that I laid out there, and the New York Knicks were hesitant, and they should have been. Let's not forget that the New York Knicks elected to team up Derrick Rose with Carmelo Anthony. Does anybody remember that? And, of course, the big joke was that, you know, D. Rose was getting hurt on his flight over while he was packing his bags. There were all kinds of memes out there. But regardless, the point is that seemed very blockbuster at the time to a lot of people. And I was one of the few that said, I don't think this is going to work. And first and foremost, it was predicated upon the health of Derrick Rose. I think the Knicks took a look at this situation with Kevin Durant. So we've already made this mistake once, and we're not going to go there again. We're willing to offer him a lucrative salary. We don't know what that is at this moment. But what we do know is we're not going to give him a max deal. And why is that? Because who's going to pay somebody $20 or $30 million to recuperate and hope to come back the next year as their old self? Look, there have been tremendous stories of people who have recuperated and had phenomenal careers. Michael Jordan, one of the few stories, right? Foot injury with the Chicago Bulls. A lot of people thought it was all but over for him. And, of course, he goes on to win 6 NBA titles. We saw it in the NFL, right? Adrian Peterson tears his Achilles, ends up coming back, having a phenomenal season, gets comeback player of the year in the NFL. But it's very few and far between that we see these things happen. And I made mention of in the article that Kyrie Irving is in basically the same boat. He's just swimming with a slightly better paddle. Don't forget, he only played 67 games last season, right? Shoulder injury, knee injury. Kyrie's been struggling with a knee injury over the last couple of seasons with the Boston Celtics. He got hurt a few years ago, right? Remember when they were in the NBA Finals and they lost? Remember LeBron James getting on national television and saying, I'm not worried about it because I'm confident we're the best player in the world. And then, of course, later on it was, well, Kevin Love got hurt, Kyrie Irving got hurt, et cetera, et cetera. Remember that? Kyrie's been struggling with injury for a very long time now in his career. So to me, it was a brave move by the Brooklyn Nets to go out and reportedly sign both of these two guys who have been injured. I said the same thing with the Lakers. When you look at the move with Davis and you look at the initial 3 trades that were made, all 4 players involved in that trade had been injured for a significant amount of time. We are literally, with the Brooklyn Nets and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, waiting a bare minimum of 1 year to see if this is going to come to fruition. And one of the things that I talked about is when you pay somebody that kind of money, they may be trying to get you to hurry up and, hey, can you make it back maybe? And maybe March, April, can you make it back? Can you maybe, can we stay afloat and maybe this guy can get us to where we want to go in the playoffs, and then once we're in the playoffs, take us a distance. You don't think that Kevin Durant's not going to have that kind of pressure? We already saw it already in the NBA Finals. We saw it with Klay Thompson. We saw it with Derrick Rose throughout his career. The pressure that he was getting from the fans, from the Chicago Bulls as an organization. When you're paying somebody millions, and literally in this case, hundreds of millions of dollars, to play, that is what you are paying them for, is to play and play at their best, period. So no, I don't take issue with the New York Knicks not signing him. Now, having said that, of course, I still believe that Kevin Durant, when healthy, and that is 100%, is the most significant player on any team that he goes to in the National Basketball Association, period. But even then, will Kyrie work out with Kevin Durant? Look, there's all this stuff with these guys goofing around together and being on the All-Star team together and hanging out and chilling and being buddies and all that. But that's great. But when have they ever played together? You know, like when you get into relationships, they always say you don't know somebody until you live with them. You don't know somebody until you're day in and day out in a locker room with them. You don't know what they're like in practice. You don't know what they're like in a locker room all the time. You don't know what they're like with coaches. You don't know what they're like with players. You don't know what it's always like to hang out with them after you've seen them at your job all day long. And even then, being good buddies doesn't mean that you are going to end up being great together on a court all season. This could potentially end up being a very similar situation like what he had in Oklahoma City with Russell Westbrook. It could be that. I'm not saying it will be. I'm saying that it could be. So when I look at this overall as a whole, I think to myself, what is the best move that I've seen so far? And it's Dame Lillard staying with the Portland Trail Blazers after so many people said he was going to end up in New York. Now, Kevin Durant not going there could have something to do with that, but I think that Dame really wants to finish what he started with the Portland Trail Blazers. I think it's personal for him, and he was another guy that was allegedly injured. Remember, there was rumor out there that he was playing with broken ribs in the Western Conference Finals. I love all these players, but the real reality of it is I think that we all need to take a step back and understand what is really going on. And that is, we have nothing but more unanswered questions than we ever did with the answers to begin with. And we still have many more unanswered questions than we do answers. I think to me, the best answer so far has been Dame. And I think it's pretty cut and dry. We literally have no idea what we're going to get in this situation in Brooklyn. Guys, I am Drew Duncan, host of the Full Court Press. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. Don't forget you can find the Full Court Press on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. You can also search me out on YouTube. Simply look for Drew Duncan. And, of course, we are wherever you listen to podcasts. Simply tell your device to play the Full Court Press by Drew Duncan wherever you listen to podcasts. In the meantime, don't you dare touch that dial.